Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this amazing time in human history. I want to give you three insights as to why, instead of being depressed about reality, you should be impressed about reality. I was once on a plane from Africa and sitting I was next to, I always sit in the, aisle seat. I'm a little ADD, so I can't handle just being stuck. So I get up, go to the bathroom, get a drink. In any event, next to me on the left-hand side, they had the middle row, and there was this young man, maybe he was about 17, 18. Next to him was an African gentleman. You can see more like a businessman, maybe 50, man of the world. And the young man and him are having this, you're on a plane, suddenly you're talking to the stranger that you would never talk to for 5 hours. And the young man is like, how bad the reality is today. Well, this guy is like, that's because you watch the media. He says, I look at the media of the whole world. In the West, it's always bad. In China, it's always good. So you have to understand that if you want to know if things are depressing or impressive, you have to objectively look at it. You have to compare the reality today to what it was. It's very easy for the media to take an image and, they're doing this in Israel. They're lying. It's a blood libel, like Israel starving. Really, people come, they murder 1,200 people, they rape, they take hostages, and they're the victims. It's like unbelievable. So, but if you just take a media image of one child that, has a disease and you keep on showing it, well, it looks like he's the victim. So you don't have the context of the story. If I come over to you and I hit you, oh, it's terrible. But what if you hit me first? There's a context of the story. What if the guy didn't see that you hit me first? So there's a context of reality. And the context is, what was it to what it is? And if you look statistically, in 1800, 90% of the world were dirt poor. 90%, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm just putting it out, something like 90%, they didn't have education, they didn't have health care, they were dying in, infant mortality was maybe 50%. You didn't have a chance, your chance of living, of being alive now was like 50%. So the point is, we are in amazing times. Now, this is very important. Apart from the technological advances that make life better, there are spiritual advances that have occurred. And these spiritual advances are epic. Never before in human history was there more goodness in the world. As my friend Yossi Malinsky, who's a very bright guy, says, you think in the olden days you trust somebody, you open up your house, Airbnb, okay, he's paying you. They can walk off with all your furniture, get people into your car, Uber. It's amazing the levels of trust that are going on in the world today. So spiritually, we have advanced to becoming a global village. The kids of today are playing video games with people across the world. We're not seeing this tension and this hatred. Yes, radical Islam still wants to conquer the world and destroy it in their various groups, but still it's not as bad as it was. Even in Russia, they're not doing, what Russia's doing is terrible, but it's not as bad as it was, to be perfectly frank. These people, they had no compunctions of killing millions of people. People in the China, I think it was Mao, I forget his name, but when he did his revolution, he killed 50 million people or something. It's crazy stuff. The communists, their own people, communism murdered 50 million people. It's not happening, those numbers. So this is an advancement. And last but not least, spiritually, our connection to God. Never before were we able to have God in our lives. As a normal conversation, people say, God told me something. Well, what are you, a prophet? The answer is no. But prophecy, the times of the Messianic era where God himself is being revealed, and that's not like there will be an amazing time soon. Everything will change for the good in a revealed way. The resurrection of the dead, the clouds are going to come, and they're going to bring all the Jews and their possessions to Israel and the Holy Temple. But the bottom line is that, in the end of the day, this is very, very important to understand, is that the greatest thing that can happen is you can have God in your own self, in your own mind, in your own experience. You can become a godly person. That's your growth, not the world's growth, but you personally. And the world is growing. God has given us freedom and an ability, even the science and even the atheism has given us the ability to ask questions and think and then discover it for ourselves. So don't be depressed about reality. Be impressed. You are living in the Messianic times. We're living in the best times in human history. Yes, if there's something wrong, go out and do something. But generally speaking, if the world went from darkness to light, we are already in daybreak. The sun is shining. Okay, it's going to shine more. It's going to get better. There's some darkness that has to go. But it's shining. And we're so lucky We're so very, very lucky. And never forget that. Never forget how lucky you are. Thank you for watching. And if this was meaningful to you, please spread this message.